Okay, welcome back. AJV's original way, not necessarily again the best way, not the only way, definitely, but it is a way that I've developed for the tools I've got and what I want to accomplish. So this is the third in the series on Lori's cups. Get this up on the stand, check the view. You can see that. I'll have to move it back when I start clamping. That's not a problem. All right, so you can see me cutting. So we're going to cut out real quick. This is the ring that I need, and it gets cut out of this particular circle disc, whatever you want to call it. And these are a remnant from the discs that I cut for Joe Stein. Now they start this big, so this circle, and this is Baltic and cherry, but to give you an idea, this circle comes out of this disc, and then I use that over on Joe Stein, and actually this is used on Joe Stein, but this is that Baltic circle that gets cut out of that, and I actually use that on this cup. So get to cutting, and then we'll glue that up real quick. Looking for headphones. So that gives me the size that I want, and then I could actually use that inner one now for a candlestick. So I can make 3 items out of the same size piece that I start with, which is this size right here. Wrong way. And that makes me happy, being cheap. So glue these together real quick. Put these 6 out. Probably got to check the view on that. Go down a little bit. Yep, that looks good. All right. So one thing I want to check for on these, where's my 6th one? There's my 6th one. Is you can probably see it better on these Baltic because of the wood it's got. Hopefully I'm close enough. And the pin feathers on this, I've sanded it off on one side because only one side of this Baltic gets glued. So it's not bad on the cherry. On the black walnut, it can feather quite a bit, especially if the bit's a little dull. So I got this set up. Need to get this set up. Hopefully you can see the vise. And this again is where these plastic tubes come in. And I'll show you that in just a little bit. Get this started. Check the view one more time. I'll turn that down a little bit. There we go. Now we can see it. All right, so going to start gluing these up. One thing I want to check is I want to check the grain. This is end grain that way. I want to turn regular grain, end grain, regular grain, end grain, regular grain. So that acts kind of like plywood going together. It supports each other because these get very thin. I thin those down quite a bit. And then I put an X on that, so when I start gluing up, I don't have to worry about finding that again. Now I store bottles of glue, all bottles of glue upside down. This never dries out. It always stays quite pliable. If you do get any skin happening, it's going to happen up here in the bottle. Same thing with Gorilla Glue. If you leave it for quite a while, you'll still have the nozzle free, and if there's any skin, it'll be up on top, and who cares? It's not where you need to have it. And of course, it all sets up. Put a nice little ring of glue around that. A little bit like watching grass grow. Won't take long. And if I do figure out the editing, I can maybe edit this out. Just start it off gluing and then just get to the end of it, because gluing is gluing. It doesn't take much difference. Not a lot of difference between these two. Now I'm putting on a substantial layer, and I am not going to take and brush my finger across it. And I'll show you why, because I know I've got plenty of glue just by experience. And for those of you that may be starting gluing, that's one thing that comes with experience, how much you need to put on. You want overage. You want it when you clamp your pieces together, that you get squeeze out. That way you're sure that you get a good coverage all over. On the smaller pieces, like what I'm doing here especially, but even something like 2 inches wide, I might put 2 strips of glue. And with my experience, I know how much it's going to take to get that smeared all over once I compress it with clamps. I don't see the need in most cases, unless you're doing a laminate, like a 3 foot by 4 foot piece of laminate on a desk or something. But then you're using a different type of glue, not this type. So, and then that goes into storage. So like I said, it comes with experience, and it's better to do a little bit over glue at first, especially if you're using it's like this regular glue. It just washes off real quick with warm water. So yeah, I get a little bit on my hands looking for the X. There it is. Now with this vise, it's got that 1/4 inch all thread clamp. Now this one doesn't get clamped. It's just so I can compress this all, and it comes off later on. Yep, I need to get a, and this is where, so I've got a 3/8 inch hole cut in there, and then I put a 3/8 by 1/4 inch ID copper plastic tube, and that centers everything. And I don't put it all the way through because it doesn't have to. It's not going to line it up anyhow. Now if I'm clamping up a candlestick this height, then this tube goes all the way through, because a candlestick will have just a 3/8 inch hole all the way through. And then I start lining this up. And it doesn't take much compression to make it hard to move those pieces. Go 90 degrees from the other way. The ends are critical. This end and this end are critical, because that's what starts guiding. Once I get to a certain point, that's what starts guiding my big 2 9/16 Fastener bit to get the inside nice and smooth. I'm over on the donuts, the circles, so by about, right at 3/16 of an inch, maybe not quite that much, 5/32 of an inch. So I can take about a 30/2 off on the inside and up to almost 1/8 on the outside. And I'm checking, spinning it a little bit. That looks pretty good, and you can hopefully see the X's and O's. But showing you the glue lines that's happening here. And I just take it right off of the way it comes out of the retail on the wood. I don't resand it. I like to see at least 100th and no more than that on kind of sandpaper roughness. I think the glue has a lot better chance to adhere. If you get it too smooth, like 200, it's been in my experience, especially when these get really thin, you just don't have the holding power because the glue's got nothing to hang on to. So you can see that glue squeezing out there, and I know by experience if I open this up, you'd see the same amount squeezing on the inside, and I'll show that. I got a little one I want to redo right there. It'd probably be okay because it's one of the interior ones, but if I get it better now, it'll make it that much easier to when I put it on the lathe. Yep, I like that better. And doing what I'm doing by eye, that's just experience. Again, I've got a lot of skill sets, building homes, doing the concrete work in homes, doing welding. So I've got a pretty good eye overall. Let me wash my hands real quick before water's getting kind of cold now. It's not coming off as good. That's okay. So this is the third in the series, like I said. And just to show you what I've been doing this morning with that. The cups behind are ones I was working on before. I changed up a little bit. I'm going to change those just a little bit. These, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I actually cut out the discs this morning. And you maybe notice that that's a little bit different because these were discs that were cut out earlier. Not quite the same, but the interior is. So that's the main one there. As long as the ID is the same on these. Again, I've got another 30 seconds that I can take off of this, so this doesn't trouble me. And I know the ID on the inside is good because I checked that before I used them. Anyhow, I cut these circles out, and plus the plywood, Baltic plywood out. Got 2 hours into it right now, so I'm trying to judge how long it's going to take me to make these. I've got some oak I'm going to do yet, but I need to make some more Baltic. I got to cut some squares. Anyhow, until next time, hopefully I do the fourth in the series here in a couple, 3 days.